Welcome to Farmers Business Network's webinar on crop hail insurance. Today we're going to visit with you about a few of the industry features and benefits of crop hail insurance. We'll cover defining the gap and how to cover those gaps. We'll also delve into what hail products are available, along with how to choose the right product and the right amount of coverage for your operation. Presenting for us today, we have two of the leaders of our crop insurance team. Frank Newell, Director of Sales, and Eric Sorensen, Director of Crop Insurance. Frank Newell has 30 years of insurance experience, 25 of those in crop insurance. He has held leadership roles as captive agent, an independent agent, an AIP representative, and a consultant. He has had the privilege of working with Farm Bureau and Farm Credit Systems, among others. Eric Sorensen has 24 years of insurance experience, 22 of those in crop insurance. He has held leadership roles as an independent agency principal and shareholder and as an AIP representative. Eric joined FBN 2 years ago to help launch FBN Crop Insurance to provide concierge-level crop insurance service to farmers. Let me hand over the mic to Frank.
Well, thank you very much, Gail. Always appreciate you taking the time to help us pull these things together, and always look forward to the opportunity to visit with Eric to gain a much better understanding of the world of crop insurance and kind of lean on him for some expertise. And absolutely in this area of crop hail, I look forward to having a discussion with him, and hopefully everyone out there finds great value in it. I want to visit with you first as we get started is our disclaimer. As the disclaimer is pulled up here, you'll see the thing that we want everyone to understand with respect to the disclaimer is that we are doing this as an attempt to just gain an understanding, let everyone know how this works, and obviously it can change at any time. As the disclaimer comes up here, I'll make sure everyone is able to see it. And there you have it, is to promote awareness. And obviously, it can change at any time. We'll do everything in our power to make sure we help keep the changes in front of you and help you as you go forward. Let's step into the agenda a little bit here. Here's what we hope to accomplish in this call with respect to crop hail coverage. Let's define the gap a little bit. Let's see how to cover the gaps. What exactly are the hail products? Choosing the right product, and choosing the right amount of coverage. Our mission statement here at FBN Crop Insurance is we really are striving to change the way farmers think about and select their insurance coverage. This is built on our experience and expertise as an agency force, and of course it's backed by the FBN network and the technology platform that we so enjoy. Here at FBN Crop Insurance, we are an independent agency. These are the 5 companies for which we write our business with. These are 5 of the industry leaders. They've been in business for a long time. They are very strong. We very much appreciate our relationship with them. In the future, we may be able to expand on relationships with other groups, but these are the 5 that we chose to do business with, and we are very excited about the opportunities that they present us now and going forward. So let's dig into this a little bit with respect to crop hail insurance. I want each of you to take a minute and ask yourself, are you ever worried about severe weather? Do you feel like you're protected? Do you cringe when you see the dark clouds? And has your crop emerged yet? As we move into this, let's pause a minute and I want you to think about some facts. According to RMA, hail usually accounts for about 6% of all crop losses in any given year. Some people's initial response to that is, well, 6% isn't that high. You take and spread that across all the acres that are planted in the United States, that becomes a real number. That becomes real dollars to someone's operation. Another point to consider is on a thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm is capable of producing inch-size hail and winds that can exceed 58 miles an hour. So just a couple points to keep in mind. I want to share this slide with you here. This is kind of the hail alley. These are the top 10 states by number of major hail events. I'm sure most of you on here are familiar with this. One could also bring in Western Iowa as part of the area where hail can be of really a concern. How can FBN help? A crop hail policy with us really goes beyond just simply protecting against the physical damages of hail. Obviously, the crop and the region of the country, in many different cases, this type of policy can also provide coverage for fire and other additional losses that most people are not aware of. At FBN, we can bind your coverage now, get that extra level of protection for you today, and really help alleviate some of that risk that you might have. I'd like to bring Eric in now and move into kind of the meat and potatoes of the presentation. I would like to hand it off to Eric and maybe have him start going through our agenda, and I'll have him start with defining the gap. Eric, thanks for joining us, and we would love to hear what you have to say on these issues. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Frank, and Gail, thank you as well. Great job at kind of setting the stage here for our webcast today. So we'll just walk through a few of the things that Frank had mentioned in our agenda, and we'll try to go through them briefly, but also complete enough so that maybe you gain a little bit of understanding when it comes to hail and some of the things that come with a hail policy, and then some of the considerations that have to be made. So in covering the gaps, what we're really talking about with gaps here would be that most farmers across the U.S. are taking some level of multi-peril coverage, and so there's always a deductible with that. Sometimes, depending on where your APH is at, there could be a double deductible. If your APH is less than what your true expected yield is, your deductible could be greater than you think it is. So for instance, on a 75% level policy, you kind of think of it as, well, you have a 25% deductible on your APH. But if your APH is 10% low, then it's greater than 25% gap. So how do we fill those gaps, and what can we do about it? So we can't cover the gaps all the way to APH on multi-peril levels, but we can pull out a peril or two or three and cover those for a certain cost. So hail is definitely one of those. There's a lot of different deductibles, and that helps you kind of control the cost. If there's no deductible, it's going to be a greater cost, of course, than if you have a deductible. We look at it like you're able to cover your opportunity loss, kind of where those profit opportunities exist. Certainly the first dollars of loss, if there's a deductible, you just have to self-insure on. So if we can cover those gaps, at least for hail and maybe wind, let's take a look at doing that. Most of the fire damage also is not covered with a multi-peril policy. If it's a wildfire and RMA determines it's a wildfire, it could be covered under multi-peril, but I wouldn't want to count on that. Then when it comes to wind on corn, we can add an endorsement to most hail policies. Again, that depends on company by company, state by state, as far as what your options look like that way. Again, there's various deductibles on wind, just like there is on hail. You can, again, we look at it as covering an opportunity loss on something that happens pretty frequently in some areas. So as far as choosing the right product, and this is very important when you look at private products like hail and wind, to make sure you get the right product for you. And basically you want to make sure that you're getting a product that's going to cover your needs the way that you need them to at a cost that you can afford. So for hail, there's really three main categories we're going to look at. We've got your dollar per acre protection. That's the original style of hail coverage that's been around for well over 100 years. And then you have companion hail that came about a couple decades ago or so. And then we have production hail that's similar to companion. We'll kind of unpack those a little bit later in the presentation. And then wind coverage, which again, most wind policies are not on a standalone basis, meaning that they come as an endorsement to a hail policy. So you have to buy the hail to get to the wind in most cases. And you can cover green snap, some harvest loss. You can decide to match the hail deductible in a lot of cases, but you don't always have to make a match. And then also in the discussion, we need to talk about, considering harvest coverage on some of these wind policies.
Eric, before we advance off of this slide here, I've got a question for you I'd like to have you explain. Having been in this business for a long time, there are some differences between wind and green snap. I know some time ago they were looked at very differently as two different endorsements on a policy. Can you visit with us a little bit around wind and green snap?
You bet, Frank. No, that's a good question. It's a question people should ask. If they're not familiar with their coverage, not familiar with their agent, that's definitely one terminology to have straight, because they do mean different things to different people. So with respect to what is wind versus what is green snap, and those terms are used interchangeably, and I understand why that is, because wind is always the cause of loss for either case. But really what most companies mean when they say wind is it covers more than green snap. Green snap is one type of damage that wind causes to corn, okay, and it's breakage of the stalk between the brace roots and the ear. Okay, if that happens, the corn plant's dead, it's done, it's not going to produce the ear, or if it did produce an ear, it's not going to be harvestable. So then you have harvest losses. So imagine you're at harvest time or into harvest time and the wind blows the corn down. It's also not coming back from that standpoint because it doesn't have any flexibility to it. And so if the ear becomes unrecoverable and wind was the cause of that loss, then you're going to have some coverage on that as well. So that's really, wind is a more inclusive name, but you have to be careful because some people will say wind, but what they really mean just green snap. So great question.
Perfect, thank you.
You bet. So before I said that we'll look at about 3 different types of hail coverage, and you see 4 bullet points here. And why is that? Well, the first 2 really belong in the same bucket. The reason we separated them out is point number 1 talks about dollar per acre coverage called full or basic. Those terms are interchangeable. Either way, it means dollar per acre coverage with 0 deductible. Okay, it's basic is a good term for it. Full is also a good term. It's the hail coverage that just pays what I call 1-to-1. So very simply, if you have $100 per acre coverage, you have an 8% loss. You get 8% of the 100 or $8 per acre loss paid out to you. Very simple, very straightforward. And then your deductible dollar plans are just that. You know, they're just like the basic or full, except they have a deductible. Maybe starting off with like a 5% deductible, 10 all the way up to 50% deductible in some cases. You might say, why would you ever do that? It's all about the cost. If it's too expensive to not take a deductible, then that's one way you can kind of custom tailor that to fit your budget. Companion crop hail coverage is meant to supplement the portion of the crop not covered by anything. And so if you've got multi-peril, you could take a companion hail policy to kind of leverage your multi-peril for the base of your hail coverage, and then companion takes care of the rest. Production hail does the same thing conceptually in that it's not standalone coverage. It depends on a multi-peril policy underneath it, and it covers the top end, much like companion, except production is more mathematically tied to your multi-peril. So again, in the vein of what does crop hail cover, some people know this, some people don't. Most hail policies will cover additional coverages or causes of loss to the crop beyond just hail damage. So for instance, if somebody runs through your field, causes a lot of damage out there, they call that vandalism or malicious mischief. You get some teenagers that are a little happy on the weekend and they go driving somewhere they don't belong and do a lot of damage to the crop. There is some coverage for that under most hail policies. It will be limited usually. Some policies will limit that to no more than $5,000 coverage. There is a small deductible in a lot of cases. Fire and lightning. So fire coverage is not normally covered under multi-peril. Fire is not a covered peril, not a covered cause of loss. And yet if you're running through the field at harvest time, a bearing sparks out on the combine, something happens, or somebody throws something out the window, cigarette or something out the window, and all of a sudden conditions are right for the cornfield to burn up, it's not going to take very long. It would be a big time problem, a big time financial loss to not have any coverage on that. Well, you can get that type of coverage through your hail policy. There is standalone fire coverage as well, so you don't even have to buy hail coverage if you don't want to. Fire coverage is usually pretty affordable. And then transit coverage is just that. If your crop is in transit from the place of harvest to the first point of storage, and there's some kind of problem there, the truck wrecks or big breakdown, or the trailer breaks in half, or anything that damages the crop, spills the crop, whatever, and you can see the different perils there. There's windstorm, fire, lightning, collision, overturn, bridge collapse, all kinds of things there. You can get some coverage for that as well.
Hey, Eric, I think it's important to pause here just momentarily and make sure everyone out there understands that there are additional causes of loss that are available on your crop hail policy. I would think most people are probably familiar with crop hail as a standalone or part of their multi-peril, but I think it's also very important to understand that there are additional losses that can be covered under your crop hail.
Well, you're exactly right, Frank. I mean, these coverages, a lot of times you don't think too much about, because you might say, well, this has never happened to me. But when you think about the consequences and the cost of something like this happen, it's a pretty important coverage to have. So definitely, we'd love to discuss any of these coverages with you, and it's important to know kind of where you stand or where you don't on this stuff. Go ahead and move on here. So other things, just moving on through the same vein of coverage here, in addition to hail coverage, it'll usually limit it to your first place of storage. And then you've got some different language there around drying apparatuses and whatnot. And so those are all important details to discuss with your agent. Another thing that's kind of minor, but it's usually in there, is reimbursement for calling the fire department and having them come out to visit and put the fire out, hopefully. There's reimbursement on those charges. So right now, I'd like to run through a few examples if I could. Just kind of unpack this a little bit in an example format. So getting back to the core hail coverage, we look at it like, we get these questions every year, how much coverage should I take? And it's a great question to ask, right? Not only what plan should you take, but how much coverage then once I've chosen a plan? And I would say there's really technically a right answer, which we'll talk about, and then there's kind of a right answer for you. And a lot of it boils down to cost and budget and fitness. So for example, let's take a look at a Nebraska, kind of an eastern Nebraska corn farm with a value on corn of $700 per acre, okay? Maybe it's not worth that today, but maybe that's what the budget was. Maybe that's what your expectation is, so we'll work with that number. Again, we have 4 different buckets here: basic, or deductible dollar plan, or companion production. So let's look at those 4 against each other. And again, cost really matters here. So that Nebraska farmer in eastern Nebraska has an APH for their multi-peril policy of 180 on corn. They've also taken a 75% policy. And so they have 135 bushels per acre guaranteed for all causes of loss. So you really, if you consider that APH as kind of an expected production per acre, you've got a 45 bushel per acre gap. And that's just too big of a gap, especially if hail is an issue for you, or it has been an issue, or it's always a threat. You're talking real money there. And certainly where markets are at right now, you're depending on that. 135 bushels in that situation would be a catastrophe. Yet that's where the multi-peril starts kicking in. So taking a 180 times the projected price on the multi-peril policy of 388 gives us just shy of $700 value per acre. Okay, that's not coverage per acre, that's just expected value per acre, because we're using 100% of your APH. So then when we take it down to 75, like we said before, that brings you to 135, which gives you a $524 multi-peril guarantee. So you can see that we've got about $174 per acre gap at a 388 price. That gap probably is even more significant than that, because we're not able to get a 388 price right now with the markets. So we could either take coverage at the value, at the expected value. So let's just round it to $700 per acre. On those first two plans, either basic or a DDB, and that's basically a code for a 20% deductible hail plan. Both of those policies pay a total loss, but you got to get to a 90% hail damage to get all $700. Okay, not likely to happen, but it could. So then you look at Companion 2, and you can really buy a lot less coverage if you're taking Companion 2, and that's very simply because it has a multiplying factor. So you'll have a 5% deductible, but then Companion 2 Plus, the plus part, gives you the greater of a basic policy, so no deductible, 1-for-1, or the Companion 2, which has a 2-for-1 payout. So for instance, if you had a 10% hail loss, a Comp 2 Plus would pay you 10% times your coverage per acre. Because you have a 5% deductible, so 10 minus 5 deductible, you're left with 5 payable points of loss, but it's taken times 2. Okay? So that would have a 0 deductible, and it maxes out at 55 points of loss. A production hail plan mathematically ties itself to the multi-peril coverage. So in this example, we're going to use what's called a 115 production hail. And the 115 means what percentage of your APH is it going to start the value at. Okay, so we're protecting the gap between the multi-peril at 75% APH and the production hail top at 115. Okay, so we're covering, it'd be 25, it'd be 40 points of loss on the top end with that production hail plan. And so that calculates out at $388 per bushel to $279 per acre coverage. It does max out at a 35% loss. So this slide here is again, it's showing, kind of stacking up visually for you to see where the coverage lies on each of these 4 plans we just discussed. The red box around each of these graphs represents where exactly the hail coverage is at. Okay, so you can see in the basic, it's full coverage, right, top to bottom. The DDB is full coverage other than your 20% deductible. The Companion 2 Plus is the top 55 points of loss, or 55% of value, however you want to look at it. And then the production hail just sits right on top of the multi-peril. So the top 40%, because again, with that production, we're going 15% above your crop value. So the yellow part is really just showing where hail only sits, okay? So all the coverage you have on the yellow part is hail. On the green parts of the graph, that is showing where you have a combination of hail and multi-peril coverage. And then you can see in the blue sections for Comp 2 Plus and production, that's going to be where your multi-peril coverage is.
Eric, this is an excellent visual with respect to coverage by plan. It really kind of helps bring it into focus. Can you take us to the next steps? Now that we've identified coverage by plan, just kind of walk us through how this might look in a loss situation?
You bet. So in short, you're saying, show me the money?
Show me the money, please.
I like it, Frank. All right. Let's talk about the payout, okay? So we've talked about the coverage. Let's see how these perform against each other so that we can kind of understand just how different these plans are. And I think that's critical. You have to understand this to understand why they cost differently, and why it's appropriate to take different levels of coverage, different dollar amounts per acre of coverage on each of these plans. So what this chart does is it basically shows how much indemnity per acre, which is over on the left side, that's the y-axis, going up and down, how much you're going to collect per acre at given percentages of damage or loss. Okay, so starting at 0 on the left and 100% total loss on the right, you'll see that the basic, which is the green line, and the DDB, which is the red line, so DDB, remember, is the 20% deductible, from 40% on up through 100%, they run together, okay? But before that, the basic coverage is paying just linearly, just in a straight line, more and more as the loss gets greater. It's pretty much a straight line. The reason that you see kind of an uptick, by the way, at 70% loss on the basic plan is because they start paying out just a little bit more, called extra harvest allowance. And that way it gets you to where you're maxed out at 90%. So that's why you see both of the two first plans doing that. The blue line is the Companion 2 Plus that we spoke about, where it doubles up once you get past a 5% loss, or past a 10% loss rather. And so you'll see a little jog there in the graph. And then once you get maxed out at about 55 points of loss, it just flatlines because you've paid out the entire liability on the policy. And then your production hail, again, we said it's similar to the Companion. It is, and the reason why it's kind of outpaying the Companion there for a while is because, again, there's no deductible, and we are setting a value at 115% of the crop value. And that's why it's kind of outperforming the Companion 2 Plus here. And then you see once you get to $279 indemnity per acre, it flatlines because that's all the coverage you have on the production. The theory is then that, or the math behind it, your multi-peril will pick up the slack once you run out of production hail coverage. So you're relying on your multi-peril for the base of your hail coverage. Another look here at payouts. And in this slide, we're actually introducing some of the costs. So the example here, we said our Nebraska corn farmer in eastern Nebraska. It's in Dodge County, Nebraska. These are actual hail costs by one of our companies for the given hail coverage shown on the black line. So the green line is showing the hail costs on a per acre basis. So you can see the basic for here for $700 basic is $13.30 cost per acre. And then for $700 of the DDB, which is 20% deductible, is a lot less expensive, and it should be because you're going to self-insure on that first 20 points of loss. So it's quite a bit cheaper, less than half the cost. And then your Companion 2 Plus at $385 per acre is about $1,020. So it's kind of a compromise between those two. And then you've got, last but not least, your production hail at $279 coverage costs you about $11.30 per acre. And then you can see, again, with each one of them in just a different presentation, a table of different degrees of damage and the resulting indemnity that each would pay. When you see the numbers go shaded in blue, that's just showing you where these things max out at. So moving on here, we'll just kind of pivot a little bit off the hail conversation and on to wind. But when we talk about wind, you know, some people say, well, you know, what if I had a hail loss and I had a wind loss as well? How does that work? You need to check with your agent on your specific policy is the short answer. But a lot of cases, there can be, you know, both components of loss weighing in there. And so you might have, you know, 8 points of loss coming from hail damage. You might have another 7 points coming from wind damage. And so collectively together, you've got 15 total points of damage. Okay. So they are going to share liability though. So if you bought $700 worth of basic and you took a basic wind endorsement on that, you don't have $1,400 worth of coverage per acre. You would still have the same $700. It's just that you have two causes of loss that are now covered on each acre. So like we talked about before, and thanks to Frank's good question before, you know, what does wind mean? It can really mean different things to different people. So watch out on that. Make sure that you've got the correct answer on what wind really means here when you're talking to your agent. It is an endorsement to a hail policy. True wind coverage, in our opinion, should cover green snap plus unrecoverable ears at harvest time. And then some wind endorsements do offer green snap only, so you got to be careful if it's cheaper. And every company's got a little different price, but if it's quite a bit cheaper, you might suspect, you know, is it just green snap only? So paying attention to when the coverage ends is critical. I remember years ago, companies were more conservative on how far into the summer or the fall they'd go on wind coverage. There was a time when you could only get out to September 1st, and once you got past September 1st, your wind coverage was over. And one year, it was late September, I think a windstorm came through. A lot of people found out their coverage had ended. And so other people had coverage that went on into October, and they were covered. So that's really important to pay attention to. Make sure that it matches up with when you're going to be done with harvest or significantly done. A lot of cases, here in the Corn Belt, farmers really want the latest date they can possibly get. November 1st tends to be the latest that most companies are offering. Some will make that date standard with their wind policy, and some of them it's an option that you pay a little bit more money for to extend it out to November 1st. And then there's extra harvest expense coverage that you can tack on to certain wind policies. Again, watch your company language on this. That can vary from company to company, even state to state sometimes. It basically covers a situation where you've had some wind damage that blew the corn down, but it didn't green snap it, nor did it cause the ear to be unrecoverable. You could get it, but maybe it was leaning so far, and you can see here a lot of policies will say if it's leaning at a 20-degree angle or less from the ground, 12 inches or less from the ear to the ground, then you'd qualify if you had this type of coverage on your policy. It really reimburses you for extra fuel, extra hassle, maybe a little bit of damage to your corn head, a little damage to yourself and your emotions. Some customers sometimes will call this hassle insurance because if anybody's harvested corn that's lean and bad, it is a huge hassle. And it will pay just a partial liability. Usually it varies from 8 to 12% of the total coverage you have per acre for this type of damage and this type of claim.
Wow, deep breath. Lots of great information, lots of things to navigate through as part of an overall comprehensive risk management plan for you as a producer. We at FBN have numerous years of experience in all things crop insurance, also in crop hail. We're easily accessible. We just simply ask you to go to this page here. You can see how to reach us on the left, use.fbn.com/hail. Just simply add in a couple pieces of very basic information. One of our experts will get right back to you and visit with you. With that, thanks for everyone's attention. Again, thanks to Gail. Thanks to Eric for all your help. We appreciate everybody's time today and look forward to visiting with you. Thank you.